What's happening, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This episode today dives into a lot of controversial topics. It is definitely not an episode for the faint-hearted. We go into a lot of great stuff today, and we're going to be joined by Jonny Crawford, so a great friend of mine that I've only actually met in person over the last month, but we've been talking back and forward for the last year or so after I was connected with him through one of my friends. And yeah, man, we're going to really go into a lot of stuff, and we're going to touch base on a lot of subjects that need to be spoken about a lot more. So please enjoy the episode and make sure that you've hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. So, brother, how does a man go from a typical weekend warrior for the west coast of Scotland, serving in the RAF, to a guy that is a Christian, faith-led business owner, helping other men do the exact same thing?
That is a big opening question, bro. First of all, I just want to thank you for taking my virginity today. This is my podcast
Taking your
virginity,
VL.
bro. Yeah. So this is my first official one. Obviously, I've done wee bits here and there in the studio, but it's an absolute pleasure to be here. So yeah, let's get into it. So, mate, short answer is I was blessed enough to find Jesus Christ, find God, and that put me on this trajectory that I'm on today. I mean, like when you say I was living that particular life, I was bad, mate. I was really bad. I was getting drunk every single weekend. You obviously served in the RAF. You know exactly what it's like. So that was me. I was just living in absolute debauchery. I was still keeping myself fit. You know, I used to box at station level, so I was still always relatively fit, but it was just the full send binge drinking lifestyle. And, you know, then that opens up the gates to other things, cocaine, adultery, you know, cheating, and just being a guy that I look back on that I was genuinely not proud of. And massively long story short, I was based in Cyprus at the time in RAF at Kratiri, where I met my now wife actually in a beach bar called the Plostra, and we were having a typical big night out. I was just on one and necking people's drinks and just in a bad way, mate. You know how it is. And I decided there was a big fight that broke out, and I decided to get in my car, and there was two other lads in the car at the same time as me, and we drove back to camp, and I was just being so reckless, cigarette in the mouth, just no care for my health or obviously the two lads' health in the back of the car. It was terrible, you know, it was awful. And I ended up crashing the car at about 80 miles an hour. And it went through all these like big trees that if it hit the trees, I would have died. And, you know, it was that moment there that just, it was a switch. It was an absolute switch. And I got up the next day and I just stood there and I was like, this is no longer my life. And I say it wasn't an audible voice. You got talking, we'll delve into religion, but, you know, when God speaks to people, you hear in the Bible about the audible voice of God, the likes of Noah and Moses. It wasn't like that. It was just you're coming with me, son. And that's been it. 4 years in September, coke-free, alcohol-free, married, would never dream of partaking in any adultery. I've had two beautiful kids, given that one never made it, but we can discuss that further. And yeah, I'm living a life that I'm helping other men now do the same and find that path within their life that they can start to leave that old world behind that we know is very detrimental towards our future, right?
Yeah, man. See, when you talk about like that sort of point you were at, Jonny, where like you were living that life, as you said right there, it was like quite reckless, living for the weekend and stuff. That doesn't, like, you know, something's off internally. I know it as well because I've been through that. When did that start happening for you? Because if it was 4 years ago, you're 37 this year, this was in your early 30s, this happened. How long had you been feeling that way where you knew something was off and you were just waiting? Had there been any more sort of points before the big crash or any other points? Because for me, certainly, when I was in my early 20s, it was like, great, I'm not like, I had a good time. I was ignorantly bliss. But when I started to get to like 22, 23, I started kind of waking up a bit more and doing it less. And it got to a point where it was like later on in my 20s that I was like, what am I doing here, man? It wasn't something that was like instant. That obviously sounds like it was a straw that broke the camel's back. But what was it like before that?
There was many things. I think intrinsically we do realize that it's bad for us, you know, in regards to like I say, spirituality and dampening your spirit and the physical ramifications of plowing alcohol down your neck every weekend. It's not going to be beneficial for us in any way, shape, or form, but you don't necessarily see it at the time. But many Sundays I would wake up and be genuinely self-loathing. Like I would hate myself for the things that I'd said, the things that I'd done, the people that I upset, because I kind of lived in this, maybe like an egotistical bubble where I didn't really care about folks' feelings, or I did in a way, but it's just, it was more so trying to play the role of a jester, get a laugh all the time at other people's expense. And you know, I hold my hands up and realize that at the time I was genuinely like just not a nice guy. And then it was conflicting with who I actually was in my heart and in my soul. So I would do these things filled up with drink. We know it's called spirits for a reason. It sucks the spirit out of you. So I was doing these things and it was totally conflicting with who I actually was. So yes, whether that was me just understanding these things, or I like to think and look back that, you know, God was always sort of pulling and always trying to get me on that path, and the car crash was the right. That's it. And you know, I've genuinely never looked back. I would never want to even be involved with that lifestyle. Like I know what it is. And I know me sitting here right now, if I heard the things that I speak about 4 years ago, I'd be like, that guy has lost his mind. But I realize now, looking back, like it's a genuine spiritual war. We talk about faith a lot. The whole world is a spiritual war. And every time we say yes to these things and we say yes to temptation, we take a step away from God. And that's what I was blessed enough to realize, bro. It's like, every time you say yes to these things that you know are going to dampen your spirit, or put you in a situation where you're constantly testing yourself, it's taking you away from God. And that's why many men are opposed to this message, because they live so much in the flesh, like I was doing. I never saw a problem with masturbation. I never saw a problem with drinking alcohol. It's fun. All your pals are doing it. I never saw the actual act itself being so detrimental to my future, until now I can look back as a man connected to God from a conscious perspective and see, wow, that was actually terrible. Like everything that I was doing in order for my future to be better.
But it was a different time where certain things are prevalent now that weren't as prevalent. Like everything that we've spoke about recently, it's like all of these, like someone committing sin or someone doing something that's like morally against what they know is actually right. That was always there. But even we were talking about recently in the Air Force, that was what folk joked about. That was like, it was like getting mad with it, like actually like losing your mind, like having nights where you couldn't remember the night, like people coming in and being joking about someone that never made it to work, and you would go and cover them and you would stick them in your boot and bring them into work and stuff. Like, and then even the porn thing, man, like people would be like, I'm going to go back up the block and rip the heat off it. And it was like spoken about. Like it was like normal.
Yeah.
And it was just like loads of wee lost guys, man. Not lost. Like you say lost, you're at a point, you said the spiritual journey, like you're going through a point in your life where you're figuring it out and you're surrounded by lots of other people that are figuring it out. But there's some men and women there that are well past where we're at right now from an age standpoint, that still don't have that awakening, that are still allowing it to happen, that are still okay in it, that are putting on. We used to have a battle bus on a Thursday night. They called it the battle bus, which was for everyone to go and get mad with in the town that would drive you back. It's mad.
It is actually
That was
mental.
a long time ago now, though. That was like, I joined in 2011. And then it's, times have changed a lot, man.
I was 2009, so it's pretty much the same time we joined.
Yeah.
And like we were having this conversation before, but even the likes of lifestyle about like Geordie Shore and Love Island programs and all that promote this lifestyle that's absolute brain rot.
Mate, I forgot to say that earlier. I was based in Newcastle.
Were you?
So
so you were loving it.
So we used to go out. We'd be like, man, like, as you said, like you buy into this stuff so much.
You do.
Yeah, and you can just see the more you step out with this, and the more you become more connected to yourself. For yourself, you're saying more connected to God. Whatever your beliefs are, the universe, energy, God. Like the more you buy into this thing that like there is something bigger than you, and you tap into that, you start to realize, man, God, it's so easy to be so misled. It's so easy to just buy into an ideology. And that's changed now. It's no longer TV programs. It's just someone's life you're watching through Instagram, just like us being active on Instagram, but there's someone else that could actually be very misled themselves, misleading a lot of other people because they've got a lot of crappy beliefs and a lot of crappy behaviors, man. But on the surface, like you said, you could be that person. Like, because when you refer to your former self, a lot of people get a different perception of what you're saying. Like, you're talking about, I was this guy, but like, I can imagine if someone seen you, they would have been like, that's a sharp guy. That's someone that can box. That's someone that he's in the military, he serves. But actually, you go back to that guy and you're like, man, he was a lost soul.
For sure, mate. When you talk about lost, I do actually believe that these lads are lost, but we are the sum of the people that we spend the most time with, right? So if you're hanging around with 5 idiots, you will be the 6th, and there's no escaping that. So if you're hanging around with these military guys that never see any of this stuff as a problem, they never see the life that they are partaking in as an actual issue. What have they got that to compare anything to? You know, they can't compare that to anything else. So they just think that they're living this life and going on a spiritual awakening journey. It means nothing to them. You're just this whack job that wears crystals. And that's it. But it's a case of I'm using my platform for what I believe to be genuinely good, right? And if I can get people to turn to Jesus Christ and make him their Lord and Savior, they will astronomically improve their life. He's done it for me. He's done it for countless millions of people across the entirety of society for not just this decade, centuries. Jesus has saved many people. So if I can use my platform for this, and when we talk about the universe and spirituality, I'm here to counter that as well. I'm here to say that in John 14:6, it tells us, I am the truth, the way, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me, because I know many people in the spiritual community that are lost. They're still lost. They're still searching. And it's a God void. They're trying to fill this hole. And as a Christian, it tells us in the scripture that we have now got a great commission, right? Commissioned officers in the military. So it's my job as a Christian, as a follower and a disciple of Jesus Christ, is to get this message across to other men. Like, if you bury your ego, that's a great abbreviation, by the way, for ego, edges God out. How many men do you know are so obsessed with themselves and their body and idolization? I used to be one of them, always flicking and combing over my hair all the time and being obsessed with it, but it was edging God out, you know? And so many people are on that path, pushing it away. And I'm here to say that you can absolutely save yourself. You can get sober. You can get stronger. You can be a better leader, can be a better father, a better husband, a better son. And I believe that the path is through Jesus. That's it. I don't think that, listen, when we say, oh, whatever your beliefs are, it's great. I don't believe that. I believe that there's one path, Kristian. I genuinely do. And
well, you can tell, mate. You can tell, like, it's something's clicked within you and it makes sense. I was having a conversation with Ailey about it the other day as well, and like, not this exactly, but I was talking about spirituality. Like, I've been on this journey, like, probably for, I've not labelled as that for a long period of time, but becoming more connected with myself, like recognizing the areas where I'm in autopilot and I'm not consciously thinking, and waking up. You know what I mean? Like, actually waking up. It's been a couple of years and more intense over the last 6 months, certainly. And I was saying to Ailey, I love the idea of faith. Like, I love the idea. Like, this is a form of faith. Faith is having faith and trusting an instinct, and trusting an intuitive action. And it's having faith. Someone's like, a bad situation's happened, have some faith. I went on a journey as an entrepreneur where I became very disconnected with myself and lost a lot of faith in myself, and then rediscovered that, became more connected. And I was saying to Ailey, I love the idea of, like, I really respect religion. I've spoke to you about it, and many other people with different views and beliefs in religions. But I haven't had that experience that allows me to physically believe. See what you're telling me? Like, I believe that. Like I'm like, I don't believe that exact belief. That's the conscious thought. And it's like, until I have an experience where I am awoken, or for whatever happens, and do you know what? That may not happen. Or it may happen in 5 years, or it may happen on Monday, or it may happen through some other circumstance whatsoever, through some sort of intervention or some sort of divine intervention that happens in my life, through tragedy, through having a eureka moment or whatever. But I seen that to Taylor the other day. I was like, because I wouldn't say, is it agonist? I hate the word atheist. Like, atheist to me is like, How can you have no beliefs?
You have to have a lot of faith to be an atheist, bro.
Yeah.
To believe we came from nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
To believe we came from nothing.
Yeah.
Before those two bits of dust rubbed together and spontaneously combusted and created the universe and created our beautiful, intricate endocrine system, there was nothing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of faith, bro.
Yeah, man.
I just got faith in Jesus. I've got faith in God. There's three things, right? There's three choices that you have to make as a man. You either believe that Jesus was a raving lunatic, yeah? Or you believe that he was a liar, or you believe that he is Lord. He is Lord of the universe. And this is the thing, Kristian. Think back, right? Think back to when you're a child. What's the first real big exposure you had to a Christian or on a TV show? And I'll tell you what it is. It's The Simpsons. That's your first exposure to Christianity. Ned Flanders. Idly hodly, Homer. like an absolute goon, right? So what did that do to your psychology?
Subconscious.
What did it do to your psychology?
Yeah, it made
The
you
Christians
associate
are
that.
the gimps.
Yeah.
The Christians
But
are the goons.
the funny thing is like I don't actually believe that anymore.
No.
But that's I don't. Like I genuinely don't, because I did believe that. And
Same.
I did. Yeah.
Same.
I did believe that. And it's like I've got such an open mind, like to everything. And like you said something the other day to me about like what was that again? You said about the experience of meeting me made you realize that you could lean in. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah,
what you said.
because like you identified me as this Christian father in business.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, well, that is the message that I'm giving across. So step into it more.
Yeah.
You allowed me to let go of perhaps another little bit of a limiting belief and thinking, well, I can't step into this fully because what happens if it pushes people away? But good. You have to push the wrong people away. And that's why I'm always banging on about this, like be authentic and be passionate and be real with your message, man. And that's what I said. Loads of coaches are going to get put out of business within the next 12 to 18
They
months.
already are, man.
Yeah.
They already are.
Because they're reading from a ChatGPT script and they're just regurgitating information. What is your mission? What are your ideologies? What are your personal beliefs? And listen, you are very open-minded. If you weren't, we wouldn't really be in this situation now. We've met through Instagram. We've spent like a good couple of weeks together. It's been brilliant. You've met my wife. I've met your partner and she's amazing. And that's because you are on this journey of developing yourself and going within, because it's so easy to get caught up. So easy to get caught up in the nonsense, right? And just focus on business and focus on money and metrics and KPIs and everything, bar your own personal life. Like, and this is a big problem. That's why I help fathers in business, right? Because they business. They leave their wife behind, their kids behind, end up coming into a divorce because how's that happened out the blue? It wasn't out the blue. It was 15 years of you neglecting your family, right? And that's what I'm saying. You have to bring everything up with you. It tells us in the scripture, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into the kingdom. Why? Because men end up idolizing their treasure, idolizing their money. Now, being rich is brilliant. It calls for us to be financially free. Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. People will argue and say, well, that just means knowledge. No, because it tells us in Proverbs 19:14, an inheritance is riches and houses. Yeah. So we're supposed to be rich, but we're not supposed to idolize it. So this is why I'm trying to ground men. I work with guys who are making 9 figures. What do I focus on? Do I focus on their KPIs? No. I focus on their heart posture. I focus on removing the scales from their eyes and allowing them to see, look, put your focus into your missus a wee bit more. Put your focus into your children. Put your focus into the stuff that's genuinely important. Do you think when your kid, when you pass away and your kid's up reading a poem at your funeral, do you think he's going to mention, oh, I'm so glad Dad made an extra 200 grand on the first quarter of 2026? Come on. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we have to raise together. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I see men, we're just so disconnected from the bottom to the top. There's a mass scale disconnection. So let's get lads back online, connected to God, connected to what's actually important, and be successful in the process.
Because you can do both. And you said something earlier about, was it a grifter?
I get called a grifter all the time.
It's like the
It's a con man. I'm a con man. So I'm
like the
using
Grinch.
Christianity to con people out of money, apparently. I'm like, if I'm doing that, then sign me up for an Oscar because I'm a good actor. But you know, it's just that's the thing. It's like I got somebody said to me the other day, oh, you should just get a normal job if you're a good Christian.
What does that
I'm like,
mean?
what does
A
what does
normal
you
job?
he said to me, you should be working a normal job and then helping people with Christianity afterwards. How does that make any sense? What is a normal job to this man?
So work for someone else. For someone else, what do
To
they then
help
have to be
yeah.
faithful as well, or do they?
Aye.
What's this normal
But
job?
I never asked, obviously, but what I get so many trolls and so many haters, mate. But like, what business are you working for 9 to 5? Because I'm guaranteeing right now it would have been your perception of a grifter back then that built the company that you're working for.
It's
You see
so
what I
hard
mean?
though to you can't fight stupid, man.
No.
And it's when someone's saying something that they'll look, that person saying that is clearly employed and has a view of people who are self-employed. Maybe that then ties to some other view that they have that has nothing to do with Christianity. So then they're tying that belief to that belief and then saying something. It's like the answer's bigger than the question there, man. The question's bigger than the answer, sorry. Like they're saying things you're like, there's so much to even unpack for what you've just said right there that it doesn't even make sense.
Where do you start with it?
Yeah.
That's what I said. I'm like, where do I even start with that? And that's the thing. Like, you know, you will get like my social media page is growing, and to be honest, like one of the videos went absolutely viral, bro. I had like 11, 12 million views. People were monetizing it from a screen recording on Facebook. People were monetizing the video,
What was
right?
the video?
It was me. I
The
took
sun cream video.
no, that was another one.
That's where I came across you.
Sun cream's poison, what? Propane. Flammable gas is one of the ingredients. We're rubbing it all over our skin. Come on. But anyway, it's without going off on a tangent. Don't make a clip of that. But no, it's like I was just taking a story and I said exactly that. Like, there's a reason why they hide Jesus Christ from you. People say, well, they don't hide Jesus. They put it down people's throat. No, they don't. It's the most persecuted religion across the entirety of the world. Christians are slaughtered for their beliefs because it's the truth, right? And when you find it, then you start to question their big meticulous system and you realize, well, wait a minute. I'm reading the Gospel of John and I realize this is exactly what Jesus was doing. He was questioning this system, questioning them and saying, hey, what's going on here? What's the crack with this? Why are you keeping people in spiritual poverty? Why can people not access God without going through your institutions? Yeah? And that's when I talk about, I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. I don't concern myself with denominations. People would try and label me a Protestant. I'm not. I'm a disciple of Christ. That's it. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. And I say that with conviction. I don't concern myself with the denominations. I want to argue between that. I just want to follow him. And he was the original gangster. That's what I said. And people were kicking off. You can't call Jesus a gangster. I was like, Jesus is the OG, man. Because as soon as you accept him, you'll start to question everything. And I done this video, bro, and it went seriously viral. Politicians were sharing it all over Twitter and everything. Like they were sharing it all over their Twitter. It blew up. And I think before I'd done that, I was about 60,000 followers and it shot up way past 100.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it went mad. So like when folk are saying on socials, like you just need that one video, that's kind of what then pushed the platform right
And
out.
it like gives you this like positive feedback loop in your mind as well. That there's this, like when you do anything, it's like, I don't know, like business, life, training. It's like that feedback loop is like, right, there is a message in this right now. There's something here in the way that I can deliver this, man. So no, man, it's great that you're able to lean into something that you believe in so strongly, and it's generating a lot of positive, but also as well, it's going to generate a lot of people that are going to not like it as well.
For sure, mate.
What was the thing you read right before this? It was something about haters.
Oh, haters are creators without courage.
There you go.
Haters are creators without the courage.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Of course it is. Because they want to create. They're there to oppose your message. They're there to come on, and half of them will be faceless profiles because they're embarrassed about themselves or they've got crippling insecurity. So they want to come on and get a reaction instead of just creating. Just create. Like, and this is the thing that I want people to step into this as well. Like, stop caring about what other people think about you. And I say that from experience. Even when I started this journey, oh, maybe somebody will say I'm a weirdo for believing in Jesus. And I would think that, I would think these things, and I wouldn't act in a particular way or say particular things because, oh, God forbid someone from the RAF sends me in a group chat. Nah, mate, let go.
You were careful in those group chats, man.
Let go, mate. I've probably been in so many. Probably at the start now, they're just like, he genuinely doesn't care.
Yeah.
So you
But people
just
get with
can't.
the program, man. People are like, that's obviously I only met you at that chapter of your life, but you do something for long enough, people just know you as that thing and they won't question it whatsoever. And the only question you'll get is through whatever the message is that you're sharing at that point, but people will get it. I think it's mad though when there's people who say things. You ever heard, especially in Scotland, like I'm in my 30s now and I bump into someone and maybe I'm back home or whatever and someone will go, you refer to someone, they go, oh, is that person that done that thing at school? You're like, mate, they're in their 30s. Like
20 years ago.
But that, if someone says that, it says more about that person's, that's how they see the world, and they think that they're the same person still as they were at school. That's the lens. That's what someone's actually saying when they say that. If someone has that level of consciousness, that's like their level of consciousness. It tells you a lot about the beliefs that they have and how they live their life if they say things like that.
I think there is a direct correlation between your level of consciousness to where you're going to climb up the economic ladder as well. So it's like if these guys are still stuck on that, you are this guy who sniffed coke in Jumpin' Jack's toilet when you were 18 with me. How can you be a coach? Bro, come on. That is like the most ridiculous limiting beliefs that any man could ever have. Mate, I know for a fact, right? I know this for a fact. If I signed up to your coaching service in 2023, I would be getting an astronomically different service as to what I'm getting now in 2026, right? 3 years. And these men are judging people from when they were 18, 20 years ago. Do you see? So it's just a complete mental captivity. It's a mental captivity these men put themselves in. And this is what I talk about, emancipation. Yeah. Bob Marley used to say, emancipate your mind, free your own mind. And that is what the true teachings of Jesus Christ does, not the institutional teachings of Christ that have been somewhat hijacked and somewhat, oh, well, you have to go through the church and you have to do all the works and you're not saved just through faith. You're saved through your faith in our Lord Jesus Christ. And that's the thing. He emancipates you. So many men are in mental captivity, bro. And that's all we see. And like you say, stuck in these same loops, masturbating all the time. Masturbating is genuinely bad for you. It raises your prolactin, right? And when your prolactin's raised, what do you want to do? Chilled out. That's why after you have sex, you feel so relaxed and chilled out. Nothing. You're not going to be like, oh, right, let's crack on with business, are you? No, you're going to want to spark up a Malibu Gold. So you're like chilled. So these guys are then doing this all the time. Their hormones are all dysregulated, and they're putting themselves into they're having less of a desire to succeed economically. Yeah. So it's not just bad from a physiological standpoint. Then you take in the spiritual element. We have a sexual energy inside us, bro. We have a sexual energy. And if you are putting that into your pillowcase, then it's not a good thing, mate. It's not a good thing. Females will feel it. Yeah. Other people around you will feel it. When you retain this seed, you used to hear about it, didn't you? No fap. I used to hear about it and be like, what's that? Lads can do that. Like, not masturbate or not give away their seed. And there's a genuine power to it. And this is why the Bible talks about sexual immorality. Sexual immorality is having sex out of marriage, because there's a sacred element to sex, two human beings being locked together in a sexual act. It's powerful. It's not supposed to just be done by yourself. So there's so many things. I went a wee bit off on a tangent there, but there's so many reasons as to why it's bad for you. Then they're doing all these other things, alcohol, drugs, and non-stop. And it's just, they're putting themselves in this cage and they need to free themselves. And that's one of the main things that you'll hear is them saying, oh, but how can Kristian be a coach? Well, I'll tell you why Kristian's a coach. Because he's stopped all that bullshit. And he's actually started to develop himself and read books instead of scrolling on birds' Instagrams. visualizing having sex with him. He's started to actually genuinely take care of himself and become conscious. So he's stepping up, stepping up, stepping up. And that's what they struggle to understand.
Yeah. You asked me a good question the other day and you were saying, where's your discipline at? But when you ask someone that question, we're sitting having a coffee at the back of our apartment, and discipline for me, I've really been thinking about that a lot, and a lot of the stuff I've been reading is there's levels to it. And for a very long period of time, I was very physically disciplined. But within, there was so many things I was allowing to take up so much headspace that because I wasn't vocalizing it, because I wasn't saying it, because I wasn't giving it the space, it was still happening. And for me, it's like it's now becoming about my mastery. Like, how can I be someone that is in control of my mind? And someone like you mentioned earlier on, and I'll come on and ask a couple of questions in this, but we were talking in the gym earlier on about like we were chatting about faith, and it's like people think that, oh, well, you do this, you like you done this thing or you done that thing. It's like, yeah, at that point in my life, it doesn't mean that you still can't have thoughts. It doesn't mean that these things don't come into your head. You're a human being and you have on average 60,000 thoughts a day. 95% of them are unintentional for the average person. And for most people, they're going through a loop of whatever you train it. So going back to you saying there, if you're watching porn, scrolling, watching women's content online, perving on people all the time, you're creating this like mindset internally that's just like charging so much like toxic chemistry going on in your brain, and then you wonder why you feel disconnected for yourself. But you're like, but it's okay, I go to the gym, but it's okay, I eat well, it's okay, I do these things. And like this, and it's not just in that, it's the lust for money, it's the lust for, I remember there was a point where I was going through coaching and I remember being like having conversations and I'd be like, they'd be a good client. My first thought was, they'd be a good client if I just met someone. I'm like, what the hell is that, man? Like, but that is getting lost in lust. That's like, or like, imagine what I'll be able to say if I get celebrated for this thing. And you have to manage your mind all the time. Like, it never ends. And obviously, the more mental mastery that you achieve, the more you can pivot these thoughts away. And the hardest bit, man, is when you're going through a change and you're letting go of an old identity. He's going to come back, or she is going to come back and fight, man. They're going to be like kicking and screaming, going, I want to do all those things that we used to always do, and I want to do them on steroids. Even though you've never done it that intense, they're going to be like, I need a drink. Give me some cigarettes. And when you go through like really, really intense change and you deliberately do it, it takes a lot of bravery to do it, because a lot of people are trying to emancipate themselves when life is like going into a really, really terrible place. When the like you were mentioning earlier on, like alcohol, drugs, a lot of people are living in a point of they're caught up in materialism. They're chained to it, and they don't even realize that like they're so disconnected from themselves that they have to change so much about themselves. And you're asking them to abandon things that everyone's congratulating them for. That's a hard bit to get your head around, man.
Very much so. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
Next car, the next watch. And it's a hard thing to break. They actually done study on kids, and they showed a little group of children a commercial on TV of a really cool remote control car. And they all watched the same commercial. And then they were asked in a controlled environment, look, you've got a choice, kids. One of the rooms has got a child in there that's really nasty. He's evil. Yeah, he's going to hurt you. He's going to kick you, punch you, do whatever. But he's got the toy. And then they were told in room number 2 was this really nice kid. He's going to be, play with you. He's going to be nice. He's going to be your best friend. He's got other toys, but not the one that was on the commercial. Every one of the kids chose to go inside the room with the evil, nasty kid because he had the toy that was on the commercial. We're so easily influenced and brainwashed and manipulated into this materialistic world. Yeah. And that's it. When you accept Jesus, you're not of this world anymore. When we're talking about that, we're not talking about the physical realm, right? We're talking about the world, the system, this shit that you're talking about now. That's the world. So when we get too caught up in that, what's it doing? It's disconnecting you from God. It's disconnecting you from yourself. Yeah. So it's something that we need to be very conscious of.
And a lot of people would say that materialism, everyone always attaches the most extreme meaning to the word. So you say, are you struggling right now? They think of someone lying in the gutter. Struggling is you're facing some kind of point of tension that's in your thought patterns quite a lot. Doesn't mean you need to be lying in the gutter. It's the same with materialism. Everyone's like, materialism, oh, they must be someone that likes Lamborghinis and Gucci bags. I don't like that. Now, materialism is that you're jumping from thing to thing in an effort to gain something, to gain a feeling that you're missing, chasing a void within yourself. Materialism could be signing up to loads of High Rocks events in an effort to feel a level of validation within yourself. It's not High Rocks that's the issue, but if you're like, I need to just do this thing and that thing and this thing, or competing in bodybuilding or doing, it's like, that is a form of like becoming materialistic, getting caught up in something that's actually, it's more than you, but you're not actually sitting and tuning in. You're losing yourself in the process of doing it. And that was one of my questions to you as you've kind of stepped into this. You're mentioning apart from the Bible earlier on, and you want to be able to share your riches to your grandchildren and your grandchildren. What have you found hard about navigating this world? Because I can imagine you have to keep yourself very grounded as an entrepreneur, as someone that is following faith in Christianity. Like, you've got moral obligations there. What's the line that you find yourself walking, or you have walked, or stuff that would be quite beneficial for other people to hear?
I mean, mate, it's a good question, and that's a thing that many Christians juggle with. Like, where is the line? So the line is your own intuition. Like, how far do you want to take it? Are you being greedy? Where's your heart posture? Why are you wanting the things that you're wanting? Like, I make no bones about it. I want to be financially successful to bring more people to the kingdom, genuinely. And I've told you about this before, but I want the ranch. Yeah, I want a place where broken men can come, guys that have been on drugs. I want a safe refuge for girls who don't think they've got any other option or alternative to aborting their children. I want them to come, and they'll be able to seek refuge with us. So it's like creating this mission and this kingdom in order to get more people to the kingdom. If you're using money for things like that, fantastic. Money's a tool. Money's currency. It's just a frequency exchange. Yeah. But if you're wanting this because I want to drive the next best car, I want to be, feed my own gluttony. Talk about materialism. What if it's masked gluttony as well, right? How much more do you want? You kind of get buried with it, mate, Kind of get buried with your tag or your Rolex. Relax. So that's the line. What is the mission, and why are you wanting to be an entrepreneur? Because let me tell you something else, bro. These big timers that I'm socializing with, because I'm in circles that guys are, killing it with hundreds of millions a year, 9-figure entrepreneurs. And when they get to the top, they've got a God void, mate. They've chased the money. They've done all that. So, you have to understand that that's actually the most important thing. It's not about the materialism. It's not about the gluttony and wanting more and more females and more nice clothes and more wines and £5,000 meals in Dubai. It's actually bullshit, mate. It actually genuinely is. And it's hard for a man to come to terms with that because we're sinful by nature. Yeah. We're all sinful. And that's what we had a conversation in the gym about. I've created my brand around this whole mission, Project Knight. Yeah, who were the knights? Yeah, they were protectors. They were chivalry. They were chivalrous to women. They had discipline. And when we talk about being able to block out the distractions, what do the big horses wear? The blinkers, because we know it's always going to come. But you just have to make sure you've got your blinkers on as a man. Oh, nice cars, women, cheating, drugs, alcohol, porn. Nah, I'm fine. I've got my mission. Stay away from me. My blinkers are on. Done. And that's the thing. It's self-control. When this whole conversation started because of discipline, ultimately. Discipline equals freedom. That's thrown about a lot on Instagram. It does. Discipline does genuinely equal freedom in all aspects of life, right? Because if you're disciplined with your diet, what you're not going to end up on? Pharmaceuticals. Yeah? If you're disciplined with your finances, you're not going to be dependent on the system. It's every aspect. So like when I'm saying where is your discipline at, that's why, like, what controls us? Yeah, what controls us as men? If there's stuff that within our vices that we cannot go without, then you're a slave. And emancipation comes from sovereignty. So if there's nothing within your life right now that you're not sovereign with, you need to be able to step away from it, including materialism.
Yeah. it's a never-ending journey, man, of checking in with where they're at. We were talking about this recently, like, even as I sold all my belongings to move away and travel and stuff, it was such a weird feeling, man. Like, the feeling I had with that was one day when I was cleaning out my house and someone came into my car, and someone from Free spotted that actually. And yeah, man, it was Stranraer actually, that your neck of the woods. But yeah, like, it was a weird feeling. I was like, one day this is going to happen, but I'm not going to be here. And someone's going to be selling my stuff. It doesn't mean anything. And it's not to say that you can't enjoy certain things or enjoy a nice holiday or enjoy nice meals out or enjoy a nice car, but it's like, it's understanding that it's not the be all and end all, man. I heard something recently, and it's some say that the golden years are only lived in the past, or only lived through past experiences. And it's like reminiscing about the past. I have just butchered that right there. But it's this idea that everyone always talks about how good things once were. But if you were to actually rewind the clock back to that point in a time machine somehow and play it at that moment, they wouldn't have been feeling the way that they were talking about it in this sort of joyous way. And it's understanding that you have everything within yourself right now to achieve everything and anything that you want to achieve, everything and anything that you put your mind to. And yeah, I think as someone that's a really good mentor or coach to someone, is letting someone see that, like, you've got everything you need right now. And when you start actually accepting that, you can operate with intuitive action that's going to allow you to not feel like I should be there and I should be there. And once I've got this thing and once I've got that thing, because as you said, man, it's programming from a very, very young age. We were talking about it earlier on with like even these massive influences. We were talking about YouTube, and when they first ever made YouTube and they called it a channel. And I was explaining my view, like, how crazy is that you actually have a channel now? Like Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and KSI, like they have that much attention that people can't actually see, that now they're selling their soul to the devil, man. And they're now selling like items and things, and it's for financial gain, but you can see that point being crossed where it's like, man, this is aiming for kids, and kids are always the future.
Bro, there's you go. There's the line, right?
That's the line.
That answers your question, because I'm certain that Logan Paul and Jake Paul started with great intentions.
Yeah.
Remember they used to, when we were younger, they used
I
to
remember
create
KSI,
yeah, they used to create
great.
little vines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the app on it, Vine.
Vine, yeah.
Vine app.
7 seconds.
Yeah,
9 seconds, yeah.
And they used to create these wee mad videos. KSI used to be a streamer with playing FIFA, right? Yeah. Done really well, got the clicks, got the views, monetized it. Now they're selling ultra processed lunchable packets to kids and trying to get them to believe on a mass scale that these are a good alternative to God-given food. Bro, that's demonic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate, but that is demonic for financial gain. Financial gain, making these kids eat these. It's not even cheese. It's synthetic stuff, mate. Imagine what that's doing to these little children's bodies, and then feeding them Prime. You're trying to tell me anything inside Prime is going to be beneficial to a child's health? No. So there's the line. How far do you take it? How far do you take capitalism? How far do you take it where you want more, at the detriment of people's health? And that's it. I say, like, capitalism, there's many good things to it, right? You know, we look at like socialism and capitalism. There's many good things.
Isms.
Isms. But there's so many good things to capitalism, but that's one of the worst things. It's like folk get too greedy and gluttony. But again, look, I talk about this all the time. Any one of society's problems gets fixed with people surrendering to Christ. That's a fact. Yeah. Anything that you can think of, it will always come back to us being God-fearing men, would be the combative measure to that specific issue, right? One of the things that I would love to campaign full time is against abortions. I would love to do that. I don't think it's the necessary thing that we should be doing as a society, aborting children, right? I think we should bring them into society, give them an opportunity of life, and come up with systems and ways to be able to help, right? But, you know, we look at that from a perspective of, why is this happening? What does Jesus tell us? Don't have sex before marriage. Why? Because if you meet a female, many people watching this right now that's met a female, they've had sex on the second night, And then what happens? You lust over the female's flesh. You lust over her body, her boobs, her bum, and you want to have sex with her, right? And then what happens when she says that really weird narcissistic thing on the 8th day and you think, what was that? Why has she just said that thing? Huge red flag. But you go, she's fit though. You're lusting over her flesh. Then what happens? The next red flag creeps in. You ignore it again. Vice versa for the females and males, by the way. Don't think I'm a misogynist. It works both ways, but they ignore it, okay? And then what happens? They fall pregnant, they have a baby. Oh, out of wedlock, we can't accept this, we're going to have to abort. So then a connection to God, listening to his ways, listening to his means, that would alleviate that problem there for me. Same with anything you can think of now, it will always go back to me and you being God-fearing men, listening to the teachings of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. When we have a podcast again in a year, Kristian's going to come on and be like, hello, Kristian. Hello, my name's Kristian. I'm the biggest Kristian on YouTube.
Kristian with CH, just change it. Oh, man. No, I love your passion, man. And like, as I said, I've just got such an open mind to everything. Like I always say, like, I think as someone that's like a good coach and a good mentor to people, I always want to be the person that's there's three sides to the story, man. There's this story, my story, this, like, it's like you're looking at it from
their
many
side,
different angles.
my side, and the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. There's my truth and then there's...
Yeah, your truth and then the actual objective truth.
Yeah, 100%, man.
But like that's the thing, so many people have got their subjective truth.
Yeah.
And well, I believe this thing is the way that we should be doing it. Cool. Well, we guy from Ayrshire is going to set the rules of the universe, is he?
Yeah.
You see? A wee guy from Kirkcudbright is going to set the rules of the universe. That's not up to me, bro. There's one king of the universe. He's already gave us a blueprint. I don't know if that's what it actually means, by the way, but Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. It's class, isn't it?
I like it, man.
Aye, because it's giving you the instructions.
Honestly, man, I said this to you the other day. I didn't know if it's offensive. I was like, it's basically the ultimate personal development book, isn't it?
Oh, bro,
like
that's not offensive. That's the fact. Like you read Proverbs.
Mate, like you look at like sins and it's just greed and gluttony. It's like just really good moral things for someone to encourage in their life. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that you have to follow exactly every, like, obviously that's what the point of the Bible is following.
You just take what you want
from it. Yeah, man.
No,
like,
I know what you're saying. It's good and it's a good moral code. But the thing is, this is why I'm opposed to Darwin's theory of evolution, because we've all got a conscience. Where does that come from?
Yeah.
We've all got a moral conscience. You understand what is right and wrong. Why? Why do you understand that if we've just evolved from monkeys? Why? Yeah. So it's like we've got this thing that allows us to understand these things, but Jesus and God is just saying, right, okay, well, this is an extra level of growth. Yeah. If you do these things, but also, bro, I don't want to leave this podcast without mentioning something. It's not just about improving the quality of your life here. It's about eternal salvation. I genuinely believe in the kingdom of heaven. I believe that we go to somewhere else in the afterlife. And I believe that there is eternal separation from God. And if you choose to be separated from God now, then you're choosing it for eternity, right? So that's an important thing to mention. It's not just about Mr. Self-Development and Mr. I'm going to improve the quality of my life. It's about salvation in the afterlife. And that is the belief of Christianity. We are going to go somewhere else. What heaven actually looks like, who knows, right? But it's a place. An eternal separation from God, eternal separation from the light is hell. What that looks like, is it a big, burning inferno? Or is it just eternal darkness away from God?
What's your views on AI gaining consciousness?
AI is unable to replicate our consciousness because it's God-given, right? And people will argue and say, well, so is AI in a way because humans... No. Listen, God gave us free will and humans have done a lot of shit with that free will. A lot of rubbish, yeah? And AI is beautiful and powerful, and integrating it into your business is a non-negotiable as we move forward. I think if you don't integrate it into your business, you're going to get left behind in many ways. However, what it's going to look like in 20 years is pretty scary. Now,
I heard someone say, like Jordan Peterson, God-like sentient.
Well, listen, I was unsure whether to take it here, but why not? Let's go. I refused the coronavirus vaccine, right?
Yeah.
And I had to go through shit in the Royal Air Force with that, bro. Senior medical officers were locking me in rooms and that, bro. Like, you know, psychologically trying to intimidate me to close the door and sitting behind little panels. Mr. Crawford, why are you not doing this? Because it's my choice, yeah? It's my choice what foreign object I put into my body. And I used to say to the doctors, no offense, sir, like I don't have to trust the medicine. There's no long-term data with this right now. I don't have to trust this. Doctors like you were prescribing thalidomide up to the late 1980s. I don't have to trust it. So I said no to this, and I received a letter, a personal letter from the Air Marshal of the Royal Air Force. I swear. And
He's watching right now, man.
I hope you're watching. Big gimp. Yeah, and I ripped it up. I wish I never cut that bit out. Nah, leave it in. But and I ripped it up in front of the lads because I thought I'm being Billy Big Bollocks here. But there was another few a lassie and a guy in my trade that refused it. They got the same letter, hand signed by the Air Marshal of the Royal Air Force. How's that for intimidation? Saying that, oh, Corporal Crawford, you're going to be up for losing your job here and that. And I said to the lads, ripped it up, trying to be the big man. I wish I kept it. But my point is, imagine in 20 years that you've not got a choice whether you're taking it or not. Because these big 6'5" robots are coming in and making sure that Jonny Crawford's took his vaccine, or making sure that you've done the things that they want you to do, whatever that looks like, or making sure that you're only allowed to go within a 15-mile radius of your house because the 15-minute cities. And how do they impose that? Well, you've got your electric cars. They're all ran by AI, and you just get switched off. Scary, mate. But listen, there's some people will watch this podcast and think he's on the ball there, and some people will think he has lost his mind. He's bananas.
What is the connection, right? This was my big question is, did you always have, like, because it's, conspiracy theorist is no longer a theorist, it's a factualist, right? it's not like that. There's things that I talk about now, and I'm not even talking about it in a way I'm like, because my eyes are open to, like, just everything. Like, I'm like, when I talk to people about things, I'm like, people are so normal, like, oh, that food's it's just cereal, it's just this, it's just that. And I'm like, this has only been about for a very short stint of our existence, right? And so is like see, we were talking about capitalism. Like 15, 20 years ago, there wasn't YouTubers with 500 million subscribers, right? This is changing the landscape of the world. Like you said, like people can roll out things that, what is normal? Like that person saying to you, like, get a normal job. Like this word normal doesn't make any sense. Like there's no, like, we've crossed that threshold so many times, man. Like it's a mad world we're in right now. And
I think I know where that was heading, right? So were you always this way inclined with your way of thinking?
Yeah.
And the answer is obviously not when I was young, but I opened up this podcast with, we are in a spiritual war. People are trying to pull you in each direction. It tells us in Peter chapter 5, verse 8, stay sober-minded and vigilant because your adversary, the devil's roaming around like a hungry lion waiting to see who he can devour, right? And that's a fact. You let your guard down, he'll sneak in. He knows where your weakness is. He knows you like a wee bit extra food. Boom, gluttony. Yeah, then he knows that maybe he might put a wee bird on Instagram that tests you. So the devil's always waiting to pounce, right? And that's why we have to stay prayed up. We have to put our spiritual armor on every day. So we are in a spiritual war, right? And I'm setting this up because of what I'm about to tell you. But when I was younger, there was this guy from my hometown. His name was Spender. I love him. He was brilliant. Big whack job conspiracy theorist when we were younger. But he used to point out the chemtrails to me. He used to point out the fact they were spraying stuff into the skies. Johnny, look, that's a condensation trail, right? That's a normal one. What's that big thing coming out of there? This was one of the biggest conspiracy theories ever, right? You were a whack job if you mentioned anything to do with that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they've just released a documentary on Amazon Prime about chemtrails, right? So now they don't call them chemtrails. You know what they call them? They call them this, Kristian. Listen,
It's an abbreviation.
this is
for
going to
something.
blow your mind.
I think I've heard it.
Listen, stratospheric and
Satanic.
transport. No, it's not satanic. Stratospheric aerosol and transport nucleation. Transport and nucleation. Stratospheric aerosol, transport and nucleation. Satan.
Yeah.
Satan. Now, this is the thing in Christianity, right? We go to church and we talk about these things. And the Christians who are awake and we see this spiritual war, they cannot make it any more obvious. They couldn't make it any more obvious if they tried. And it's either one or two things. They're literally just taking the piss, or they're making it so blatantly obvious that we talk about NPCs, that the NPCs, we don't call people at church don't say that, by the way. All the NPCs that don't believe in God. We're just talking about me, the NPC, the non-player characters. They just say, aye, okay. Obviously, it's just a coincidence. Because it's like so blatantly obvious. They're spraying the skies by cloud seeding. It's not chemtrails anymore. It's cloud seeding. Two separate things, right? Apparently. And the abbreviation is Satan. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this, but there's demons and they're called specific things. Moloch, Baal. You can look at all this after this.
A lot of stuff in the Epstein files.
Listen, Jeffrey Epstein's bank account was called Baal, right? And who's the demon of what? The demon of child sacrifice and rain. Look this up. Anybody's watching this podcast, please look it up.
I was having this conversation with Ailey's parents when they were here, and they were going, "No."
Aye.
And I was going,
and they believe in God, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man. But it's just because it seems. I remember years ago being like, nah, like things can't be that.
Aye, sinister.
But we had this conversation, and like, I had a bit of a. It's been something it wasn't just one thing that was like bam, like more observant, more open minded, and the more I read every day, I learn every single day. Like, and I always remember I picked up this bit ages ago, and it's like, if you want to know more about business, because I was obsessed with just business for years, stop reading business books. And I was like, what do you mean stop reading business books? It's like business books are about the thing. Like the thing was around before business was around. Business was made as a byproduct of everything else that's happening in the world. And the more I read about spirituality, becoming more consciously connected, the more I'm like just observing things a little bit differently. And I'm like, oh my God, man. Like we're in this, like, don't even realize like how much you are a pawn. Even when it's funny, there's a very specific type of guy, right? They go out, take coke, party a lot, masturbate a lot, right? Cheating their partner. Ooh. And they're very big about, I watch Joe Rogan. And they think they're like spiritually awoken, right? They think they like, and I know and there's 13 families and there's this, and it's like, you are literally in it right now. Like you think that you're awoken because you've watched Joe Rogan or you're nodding your head in the green, yet you are someone that is a puppet of the entire system. You're so scared to move away from everything that you don't even realize that you're at the bottom rung of it. In the military, mate, what did everyone say? I can't leave because I'm pension trapped. That's a prime example of systematically being put into a structure and people giving into the scarcity.
Absolutely.
It's strategically put like that so that folk are actually like, it's then people buy into that. Then everyone's just watching going, yeah, nobody's going to leave, man, because they can't. They're too scared to leave.
Bro, the people who've created that military system are geniuses.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They're laughing. These idiots don't leave. Yeah. They think they're caught in a pension trap because they've done 9 years.
Yeah, and need to stay another 13.
I need to stay another 13 years to earn 50 grand a year to be a warrant officer. Yeah. When you can leave and build up a very, very substantial business in 5 years that you could be making 6 figures a month.
See, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with anyone staying on that path. Everyone's got a place. Every job has it in our society, every place. But it's like, it's this mentality of justification to stay somewhere, and the only reason being through fear. That's basically what they're saying.
Bro, I met 1 in 20 lads, 1 in 20 lads that genuinely thought that job was all right. 1 in 20. Look at all the morale surveys and that they used to come. They used to come round and ask folk, you happy? No. Why are they not leaving? Because they're trapped. They're in mental captivity. That's what I'm telling you about. They're in mental captivity. It's so safe. And they use the drugs and the porn and the cocaine and the alcohol and the cheating. They use it as escapism. It's all escapism. And that's the thing, they don't even realize that what they're escaping from, why they need to escape. It's like this void. This void. And I know folk will be watching this podcast, or if they're still watching this far, then they're interested in self-development, right? You have to come away from it. You have to come away from it. You have to start cleaning up your act. And when we talk about sin, stop sinning. Yeah, just try it. Just try not touch yourself, touch your willy for 2 weeks, right? Try not pull out your wee pisser for 2 weeks. And just understand that there's levels, and then you think, right, okay, I'm going to abstain from the bevy, then I'm going to abstain from the cigarettes, then I'm going to start to be in control of my flesh.
We were chatting earlier on, like, and I want to make this clear as well. Like, me and Johnny do not think we're better than anyone saying this stuff. We're talking about like feelings that you have towards things, and just we're sitting in a wee cafe earlier on, man. I was like, should you get some cigarettes in here, man? Because the place is just full of folk smoking, and we both used to be smokers, and we were just talking about that sort of like feelings that you get for things and what you do. It's very, people go on as they get to this point is that they are a senti-god that doesn't have any. You're always working on your mind every day, man.
For sure, bro. But again, it's like, see that there, that is a little bit of captivity.
Yeah.
What you just said,
Yeah.
right? Me and Johnny don't think we're better than anybody else. No, nobody's here to say that.
Yeah.
Nobody's here. I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
I'm a sinful man, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a sinful man by nature. I've committed terrible sins in the past, and I've cheated. Who am I to judge anybody for their sin, right? I'm not here to judge any guy for sniffing coke. I'm not here to judge any guy for cheating on his missus, right? This is one of the most powerful sayings in the Bible is remove the plank from your own eye before you try and remove the splinter from your brother's. Yeah. So how are my sins any less? Yeah. Because I still have thoughts about, not liking a person or having hatred in my heart for someone. Of course I do, bro. There's so many stuff I need to work on, but I've worked on a lot. Enough to understand how to help other men release themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't mean by masturbating, I mean by actually emancipating themselves from the system that they put themselves in.
Channel will get banned after this.
Do you think so? Nah, I doubt it, mate. We've kept it very tame.
Yeah.
I want to talk about other stuff we can. No, I'm joking. But that's what I said.
Files, man.
Yeah, no, I'll leave that, man, because that's just it. I had to come away for that, mate, mentally. Yeah. So it's a lot. You need to be careful. You need to protect your spiritual energy. And this is the thing. A lot of it is energy harvesting, bro, because you start to read into those files and you start to understand what those people are doing. You will end up visualizing the things, right? Yeah. And it'll take, it's demonic, bro. And whether they've actually done it on purpose on a mass scale, we'll not talk about this, but there is, you obviously know there's psychological operations. So maybe that's a big psychological operation, a psyop they call them. So it's like to dampen our spirits, to make us depressed. Like, oh my goodness, we're literally in slavery to these people who can get away with that, and none of them are reprimanded, none of them are arrested, none of them are held accountable. How?
One of my good mates that actually met out here last year, Jordan. I met him at Pamboss's one of his out workouts, and it was really good to catch up with some folk there. And he actually used to work for Meta as a software engineer, and he basically, very intelligent guy, obviously. And we were talking, and I was just sitting, and I was like, I've been doing a rabbit hole with like so many different books, and I'm just always studying, mate. Like, I'm just fascinated by learning every day. I think it's a very important thing to do every single day, is to open your mind in some way, shape, or form. And the thing with AI, man, and I was actually talking to Jordan about, like, how do we not even know we're just in some big reality thing, man? Like, how do we like, what's real? See what you said about the psyop, and see, sometimes, man, like, I've ran many retreats and boot camps and spent time with clients, and sometimes folk look at me like I'm a bit, when I talk about things, and I'm like, I've just got such an open mind to like everything and anything that I'm just curious. Like, I'm like, I don't know with certain things.
It's a good place to be, Kristian. Yeah. And listen, it's one of the big mainstream sayings that I believe is a psyop is curiosity killed the cat. You've heard that. Yeah. You heard that in nursery.
I did, but I've not heard it, not spoke it through in a while and thought about it.
Curiosity killed the cat. You learned that as a kid. So did I. So did the people watching from England. They probably had it in different translations in Germany. Curiosity killed the cat. Why? Why?
I want people to be curious, man.
Bro, that is like a mic drop moment.
Wow, man.
For conspiracy theorists, right? Why would they be teaching children, mainstream education that curiosity killed the cat. Complacency killed the cat. Comfort killed the cat, not curiosity. Curiosity leads you to the truth. Be curious with whatever you do. Constantly ask questions. That's one thing you'll see me when you hang about with me. What do you do? Like, what do you do for a job? What do you do for a living? Like, how do you manage that?
There's a guy on social media right now does this video. What do you do for a living? Have you seen it?
No, I've not
He
seen
just does
him.
these videos. He
Yeah,
just goes and
class.
asks everyone that.
Yeah, but class, because you're going to start to learn things and you're going to be
Yeah.
curious. And where are you from? Oh, what? Tell me something about your country. Tell me something. So you're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. You're not watching the BBC and creating your own like bullshit echo chamber from stuff that you're getting fed on the tell-lie vision. Tell a lie vision that are called programs to program our minds. Oh yes. Like, so it's just, you're right. It's the world is mental. And listen, the more that you go closer to God, the more you'll wrestle with him. If you just take everything that you let, right, this is gospel, this is it, this is where exactly my understanding of Christ is, and this is exactly where my understanding of God is, then you're not expanding. You have to wrestle with God. You have to understand, and you have to ask more questions and give me more. Yeah, that's one of my prayers. I pray for intuition. I pray for discernment. I pray for wisdom. Lord, please fill my mind with knowledge, discernment, and wisdom. Allow me to see the truth. Draw things closer to me that are for me, and take things away that are not for me. And it's massively beneficial when we pray for these things. So knowledge, that's what we need.
Yeah, man. Love that, mate. What would you say right now is waging war against men that's not being spoken about enough, that's happening right in front of our eyes, that people are just asleep with, man, that's just killing them, slowing them down, wearing them down?
Lack of accountability, lack of ownership. Yeah, you can wear your trauma like a badge of honor, and people around you will accept it. Mm-hmm. They will take that as if this is the reason why that guy's not financially successful or successful in life in general, whatever your measurement of success is. They're allowed to wear a badge of trauma. And the majority of men wear it proudly. Yeah? And I learned this, bro. I lost my daughter Iris. You know about this. I lost my daughter Iris. She was born premature on the 11th of March 2024, and I held the wee lassie in my hands, and she was huge, mate. She was right down to my Garmin there. Her wee feet was there to there. And I held her and I looked at her and I was like, wow. I was genuinely a victim. Like, I was life's victim, because everything that happened before that was so much of a stress, right? Oh, wow, like, I'm going to be late for this meeting, or, oh, wow, somebody said something to me, or somebody cares about my opinions on social media. I hope I'm not in a group chat and these people are slagging me up. Bro, what is that? What is that? She was the greatest scholar in the world because she taught me true pain that genuinely took me to my knees. And that's when they say suffering leads to salvation, because she showed me what hurt was. Yeah. Then what happened? I could have used that trauma as a badge of honor. But that's the reason why I'm fat. Yeah, because I lost my daughter on the 11th of March 2024. That's the reason why I'm fat. That's the reason why I can't come on the podcast today, Kristian. That's the reason why me and my wife are having arguments all the time. No. That's the reason why I'm excelling. That's the reason why I'm taking care of my nutrition. That's the reason why I'm getting a nice bath. That's the reason why I'm constantly developing myself, because of her, because that suffering. I realised that too many men are just victims, bro. They're victims to everything that's happening to them externally. And that's a tough pill to swallow, mate. Yeah, and I get them. When you're pointing fingers at other people in this life, there's 3 pointing back at you, bro. There's always 3 pointing back at you. How can I change my situation? Yeah. So it's victimhood, right? And there's a great psychologist called John Gottman. He owns the Love Institution. It's all about for married couples. And he's got his 4 horsemen that's going to basically ruin their relationship, that he could predict, because he'd done loads of trials, and he could predict a divorce up to 94% from his Love Institution. And I took his framework for his psychology and turned it into my 4 apocalyptic horsemen. And the final horseman was victimhood. Like that, bro, that is, you ever rode a horse?
Yeah.
That victimhood's a big 22-hand Clydesdale, bro. It's going to come into your house and it's going to shit everywhere and ruin the place. Yeah? If you take victimhood on. This is the reason why I'm fat. Got an ankle injury in 2016. COVID ruined me psychologically. Come on, man. You see, and listen, that is a harsh message, but I was so blessed to have experienced what I experienced with Iris. That's why I can sit here with conviction, and I do not care for backlash. I do not care when I say that most men are attaching themselves to the mental health movement, and it's okay to talk. It's okay to talk. Yeah, it's brilliant to talk. It's brilliant to talk. And if I had any mental health problems, I would come and say to you, bro, this is the way I'm feeling. But what do we do after that? We take action. Mental health, yeah, this is a situation I'm experiencing, I'm feeling this particular way. Okay, cool. Show me your 3 meals that you're having today. Show me how much hydration you're having. Show me what you're doing to actually solve the problems, bro. Yeah? So, in answer to your question, long-winded way of saying victimhood and lack of accountability will ruin men faster than anything else.
Giving into a thought pattern that's just being fed and fed and fed, because going to people, man, where they know what answers they're going to get, that's a big part of victimhood as well. Victimhood's created from a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness. That's where it's created, and it's that 4th horseman of the apocalypse, man, is a perfect example, because when you're in it, it's hard, man. It's very, very hard to pull yourself out of it, but that's why you need to have people around you that are not going to tolerate it, man, because I've had so many great mentors and coaches in my life over the years, and I'm a very receptive person, but I've still had to have my head pulled at my arse, man, because I'm falling into that cycle, man, and I'm in that echo chamber that I'm creating for myself, and it's not a nice place to be in. And you get 2 options at that point. You can either lean in, face the music and do something about it, or you can be that person where that becomes your story. I think that's an awesome way to round off the podcast. Bro, thank you very much for coming on. It's been an amazing episode, man. Have you anything else you want to share before we close off?
Mate, I've really enjoyed it. I think you're an incredible bloke. I'm excited to watch your platform grow. I think you're working hard for it. I think you deserve it. I see the energy you put into it, and I know it will eventually be reciprocated. I visualize me sitting on this platform again with you having 500,000 subscribers, and it's going to be nice to watch because, like I say, you deserve it, and you're working hard. You genuinely work hard behind the scenes, and it's nice to be around you, bro. So yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for having me on. I look forward to the next one, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And guys, obviously, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure that you check out Jonny's place. I'll link it in the show notes below. And also, make sure that you've hit subscribe to the channel. Anyway, guys, see you later. Goodbye.